Hey, what's up, guys? It's Coach Eric Freedom here, co-host of the Finding Reason podcast, kicking off season 4 here, Know Your People. And I'm here with our very special guest, Coach Kara Ingersoll / Young. Welcome.
Thank you.
This is only our 5th take, but this is probably gonna be the last take. So welcome. How are you doing today? How are you in general?
I'm doing well. Lots of things coming up. Going to be Kara Young soon, which is adding a lot of stress to the plate, planning a wedding, but things have been good.
Yeah.
Otherwise.
To give you guys some backstory, or to give our listeners some backstory for those that are tuning in, you've been with us now for 2 years?
A year and a half,
Dude,
actually.
only a year and a half?
Yeah.
Why does it feel so much longer?
I don't know. Well, 2 years would technically be August.
2 years would be August, yeah.
But then I went full-time in January. So I literally just hit a year being full-time.
Dang. All right. Well, let's hear your story. Who are you? And let's share your social security number.
Okay.
And your banking routing and account number. And that's where we'll lead off from there.
Okay,
All
perfect.
right, cool.
5'3", no.
Like, who are you? How'd you get here?
That's a loaded question.
Yeah.
Where do we begin? I don't know. I guess just like quick story of where I'm at right now. Coach at Reason Fitness. Been here for a year and a half. I am currently engaged / married, in a weird spot with that because my wedding's in a couple of months, but I got married a couple months ago officially. So, just transitioning into a new season of life with that. I have a golden retriever and I currently live with my fiance, and I'll be moving next week into my first house with him, and Chowder. And yeah, that's kind of just like where I'm at right now in life.
Yeah. You've been with us for a year and a half coaching. You were an athlete with us for also a year and a half, right? Was it like a year and a half?
Yeah, I think like a year and a half, 2 years.
Crazy. Okay. So because you started, almost 2 years. Because you started like in the middle of COVID.
End of 2020. Yeah.
Okay. So it's been, literally almost 3 years now.
Yeah.
And so I don't know if a lot of people know your origin story, but what brought you here? And you've had 3 years of journeying as an athlete now, a year and a half as a coach. Sports has been something that has always been a theme in your life. Mm-hmm. Where are you from? How did you end up here?
Yeah. I grew up in Pennsylvania, so like a small town outside of Pittsburgh, with my family. I have 3 older sisters, a mom and a dad, so grew up in like a big family. We all did competitive cheerleading. It was like not really a choice. It was like, hey, this is like the sport you're all doing. Because when my oldest sister decided, I think she was like, she was like 11, and she decided she wanted to try cheerleading. So I was in kindergarten, and my mom was like, we're all doing the same sport just to make it easy. So I was playing soccer at the time in kindergarten, right? I was like 5. And she was like, no, you're all going to do cheer. So we all did cheer. I loved it and didn't really know anything different from it until I graduated from high school. And when I graduated from high school, I was kind of tired of cheerleading, but I wanted to do a sport. Like I knew I wanted to be an athlete beyond that. And so there was a sport called acrobatics and tumbling that my second older sister did at Azusa Pacific. And I think when I joined, there were only like 15 to 20 schools doing it. And so it was called an emerging NCAA sport. Okay. So it wasn't like an official sport. And then once I did it for 3 years, kind of like a mix of cheerleading and gymnastics. It was really fun, like no regrets, wouldn't trade it for anything. The year after I graduated, it became like an official NCAA sport. So that was cool to be kind of a part of that like history. And then I graduated the year before COVID. And so I was just trying to figure out like what my fitness was and meant to me and what I wanted out of my fitness. I had been through a couple of jobs like post grad and trying to figure out like what I was going to do with my degree, if I was even going to use my degree, which was public relations. And
Post grad, were you doing? So it sounds like for you, sport was competing in acro, right? And then I'm guessing it was competitive cheer.
Yeah.
Like it was like Bring It On.
Kind of like you don't actually cheer when you're doing it. It's like competitive. So you have a 2.5 minute routine.
Yes, like Bring It On.
Like Bring It On. Yeah,
No,
yeah.
that's what I mean,
I guess
like,
it is like that.
Must be some
Yeah.
toros in the app, you know? No? No?
Yeah. Yeah,
Okay.
but we don't like cheer at like football games or anything like that.
Correct, but you do like
You do a routine like you would see in Bring It On
correct,
Yeah.
like on a stage,
on a stage. Yeah.
and then they like rate you and stuff like that.
Yeah,
and then-
exactly.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So like my identity was like deeply rooted in being an athlete. And I remember when I graduated college, I was like, oh my gosh, like I'm not an athlete anymore. And I don't know like what to do with that.
Yeah.
So didn't mention this, but I rode my bike across the country like right after I graduated college, found a ton of identity in that. Oh, I'm a cyclist now. So I was like, maybe I'll do triathlons and be an athlete in that, or maybe I'll do like Ironman. And I remember I saw like a couple documentaries during the time about CrossFit. It was like The Fittest on Earth was coming out from the games. I was like, oh, CrossFit seems cool, but I don't know where I would go to do that. And I remember I would go on Pinterest and type in CrossFit workouts, and I would do them like bodyweight CrossFit workouts in my garage.
Okay.
But I didn't even know what CrossFit was.
So you were like self-motivated to work out.
I wanted to work out.
Like
Yeah.
you were into
Yeah.
working out.
Yeah.
No one had to teach you that.
Right.
No, it was never a chore. It was never like, oh, because of I'm trying to be skinny or anything like that. Or like
Oh, I mean,
because I'm curious, what's like a motivating thing for you as a young, like outside of acro and cheer, were you doing fitnessy things? Like were you exercising while you were an athlete?
yeah. So when I was doing acro, we would practice for 3 hours a day.
Okay.
Like Monday through Friday. And after that, would randomly like go to the track and run with one of my roommates, or I would do like little workouts in my room that I would find on YouTube. Like I really did enjoy fitness, but I have to say, like, I think sophomore year of college was when it started turning more like negative and like punishment. Okay, if I like, ate this today, I needed to do an extra workout in my bedroom that night, even though I had practiced for 3 hours already.
Why do you feel like that started? This is high school?
This was sophomore year of college.
Why do you feel like that narrative began for you? I mean, I'm sure it's an internal thing that you're internalizing something.
Yeah.
Why was that a thing that became prevalent when you're 19 as opposed to, because I feel like a lot of girls experience that younger.
Yeah.
Right.
Yeah.
So why at 19 now?
Yeah. Well, so when I was I think that sophomore year was when it got really bad, but I would say like freshman year was when it started. I was in the dorms, and I was starting to gain weight.
Okay.
And I didn't know why. Well, now I obviously know why. It's like I'm going to college. I didn't really know how to eat or cook for myself because like my parents always cooked for me, or I would eat the same things every day.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden it's like, okay, well, you're on this meal plan at college.
Yeah.
I think APU had like, at the time, things were closed down because the campus was under construction. There were like 2 choices. It was like a fake Chipotle, and then there was like a snack place, like a gas station kind of, where you'd grab like snacks and pre-prep sandwiches. And so it was like the options were pretty limited as far as like eating healthy.
Oh, wow.
And so that made things really hard too.
There's no cafeteria.
There was a cafeteria. Nobody really ate there.
Really?
Yeah. Which like me thinking now, it's like that probably would have been the best place to go if I wanted a healthier like home style meal.
Yeah.
But I think that freshman year I had put on weight, and because of the stress, I was in a like long distance relationship with a high school boyfriend.
Oh, wow. Okay.
Which added a lot of stress. I was in a new state because I had moved across the country. My family moved to California as well.
So there's no going back to Pittsburgh.
Yeah, there was no going back at that point.
Okay.
Yeah. And then like now on this meal plan where I didn't really know like what to be eating, I'm practicing 3 hours a day now, which was new. I mean, when I did cheer, we practiced 3 times a week. And so I would just go into these like bouts of like binging at nighttime because I was stressed, and like food was the one thing that would make me feel like good. And then I would feel like horrible the next day. So I would do a workout in my room, and then I would go to practice, and then I would binge again that night. Like it was this never ending cycle. Sophomore year, I was like, this is not good for me. So now I'm going to go reverse. I'm going to go vegetarian.
Oh, you were a vegetarian.
Oh yeah, for a couple months.
Couple months.
Yeah, then I was pescatarian for actually, I would say like 9 months actually. That was a pretty long time.
There you go.
And then intermittent fasting was getting really popular.
Wow.
And keto was getting popular. So I'm like, oh, if I just mesh like all these things together, I'll definitely lose weight.
I see.
Well, I did.
Yeah.
But then it was like all week I would starve myself and eat like 2 meals a day. I would eat right before practice and right after practice, and that was it. By the weekend, I would have like no control over food. I would be binging at nighttime without my roommates knowing. It was like embarrassing. I would like drive places, pick up food, and eat it in my car.
Oh, wow.
Yeah. And so then, that was just like a dark time because I definitely was going into like eating disorder territory where it's like I didn't know how to eat and just like feel normal. Like everything had to have like a price tag on it, basically.
I mean, during that time, it makes sense that you do that, right? Because it sounds like it's a lot about control, and it's you're so controlled during the week that it's almost like on the weekend you're binging, but it's like another form of control, but it's like out of control, if that makes sense. Mm-hmm. How did you navigate that? Was that just something that you like did all throughout college, or?
So freshman year was bad. I remember I would like go on social media and I would find pages of people that had like the same problem or have overcome it. And it's like, oh, if you're someone that like binge eats, like know that this will end one day. Like you'll grow out of it. And I would just like, I couldn't see that. Like I'd read that and I'm like, that's never going to be me. Like, I don't think I can ever have control over food because you're in like this dark place of like not knowing. I would like binge and then cry and be like, oh my God, why am I doing this? Like I can't control myself. And then sophomore year, I would be Googling like, what should I do when I start feeling hungry? Like, how can I make myself not feel hungry? So like drinking black coffee, like doing these certain things to like suppress hunger because I wanted to lose weight now. And then I think for me, like the next year, my last year of school, still in that kind of like, during the summertime, things would get better. I'd be at home with my family, having 3 meals a day. It was like good. Go back to college, same habits are back. And then once I graduated college, it kind of came to an end, but like the binging didn't end. The restricting ended, but like the binging didn't. So yeah, it took a long time to, ups and downs of going through that.
Yeah. And then, so it sounds like that was life during school, post-grad. What's life like that? What's life like during your post-grad years?
Yeah, post-grad was like...
It's been like 4 years now.
It really hasn't even been that long. Yeah, I graduated college in 2019 because I graduated a year early. And so when the pandemic started, I was living with my roommates still around APU just because I didn't know if I was going to go to grad school or anything. So I had signed for an apartment. And I think that I didn't know what I was trying to do with work. And I got a sales job. I quit. I started working at Lululemon and Orange Theory, like having 2 part-time jobs basically and trying to balance like that.
What was that? So how long was the job in sales?
6 weeks.
Oh, really short. Okay.
Yeah. So I worked in downtown LA for 6 weeks.
It was longer. I don't know why I always thought it was longer.
I felt like it was like 2 years.
It felt like forever because you're miserable. Okay.
It was not great.
And then you were at Orange Theory and Lululemon. What was that like? What was that time like?
Yeah, I got I went full time as a key lead. So basically like a assistant to the assistant manager at Lulu. And I think at that time I was really...
That's going to be a reel right there.
Huh?
That's a reel right there. assistant manager.
But yeah, during that time, I think that I felt a lot of shame because I was like, oh my God, I just spent how much money on school and to get a degree, and now I'm working in retail. And there was so much shame around that because I was like, I should be doing I should have kept my job in sales because that's what I should have done after I graduated. I should have gotten a 9-to-5 job. That was the narrative.
I forget that that's a narrative that people think after you graduate from school. Yeah.
Yeah. And I think that, working at Lululemon was honestly an amazing experience. I would not trade the 3 years that I worked there, but at the time I couldn't see out of it. I was like, I need to keep applying to jobs and try to get out of here. And I worked at Orange Theory for a couple of months. I was going to try to become a trainer there. And then, I think I may have only worked there for 4 months, and then the pandemic started. So stopped working there.
I see.
Stayed as an employee at Lululemon basically they treated employees amazing during COVID. We obviously couldn't go to the stores or anything, but they took care of us. Yeah. And so then I was just like at home all day.
Yeah.
Just figuring out what I was doing.
And what was your relationship to your health and fitness and that journey like during that season?
Yeah. I think that fitness, I always worked out. Like working out was a pinnacle part of my day. When there was a COVID shutdown, I started running. I would do like YouTube workouts at home. I would do Orange Theory style workouts because I did enjoy what their classes were like. But then again, like nutrition was just like crazy. Like I was binging almost every day at that point, whereas before it was like once a week. I moved back home a couple months into the pandemic because I realized that I was like, hey, you know, it's just a better environment to be at home. And I don't know how many months in it was. I mean, I think I moved back home in like June. I joined the gym in like September or October. Between that time, I mean, my nutrition was like horrible. Like I was going at nighttime eating like almost like a gallon of ice cream. This was almost every day of the week that was happening.
Okay. I was going to ask you what your definition of binging was, because I feel like Drew and I tried to define it on another episode before.
Yeah.
But like, so like, it sounds like for you, it means eating, like, okay, obviously eating a gallon of ice cream falls within that. What else is like, what is considered binging for you?
Yeah.
What represents that? Like when you afterwards, you know, man, like I just binge ate.
Yeah. I think that you don't even really remember eating most of the food. Like I would make like 4 peanut butter and jelly sandwiches and just eat them. And then I'd be done and be like, oh my God, like I don't even remember eating like a couple of these. Like you literally almost like black out while you're doing it. You just have this uncontrollable feeling. And then as soon as you're done, it's like this feeling of guilt that you can't even like eat. Yeah, exactly.
Because you're talking, as you describe the uncontrollable feeling, or it's like while you're doing it, it's almost like out of body.
There's like, you have no emotion attached to it. It's the weirdest thing. I can remember what that feels like, but I can say that I haven't done that in a couple of years now. And it's just like, yeah. That's
something that I was actually just talking to Lisa about this morning, where, you know, binge eating is such a interesting, like for me, I think through like my years of eating, I don't know if I binge ate in college, but I like habit and bored ate a lot, if that makes sense.
Yeah.
It's like, oh, I'm just like, I'm snacking, I'm eating Cheez-Its because they're in my room and I have nothing to do. So I'm kind of eating. Yeah. But I'm trying to think whether or not I ever binge ate. Like, yeah. And the only time I realized that I don't even want to describe it as binge eating, but it's like at nighttime, if you're bored or if I'm emotionally feeling a certain way, I'm using the food to numb it.
Oh,
you know what
I
I mean?
see.
Yeah.
I feel like there's a difference there. I feel like that's like emotional eating versus like a binge. Like
the binge is about the food.
Yeah. Like, I mean, I don't think that when someone emotionally eats, I don't think they would eat like an entire jar of peanut butter. Right. That was something like I would take a spoon and like literally couldn't stop until it was gone.
For me, what I realized now we're going down the topic of binge eating, but I realized that for me, it's going from like salty, savory to sweet. And then back.
And then back and forth.
Back and forth. It's like, oh, like, back. And I'm trying to think of when I've done this where it's like, I'll go look for, I'll eat dinner, everything's good. And then before bed, I'm just like, oh, I want something.
Yeah.
Right? And then I'll go look for like a snack, I'll get some pretzels or something like that. And then I'm like, oh, like my mouth's salty. Then I'll go look for some ice cream. Like, oh, I don't have any ice cream. Then I'll like go find some kid snacks to eat or something like that, right? And then you eat that, and then you're back. Now it's too sweet, and you go back and forth, right?
Yeah.
So I can see that. And so for you, how did you, like, you identified, you knew that that's something that you were actively doing. How did you, like, do you feel like you've overcome that? And what does overcoming even look like?
Yeah. Yeah. So it was weird because whenever I started the gym, I don't think that I had a good relationship with food still, but coming here was a really good environment for me to be like, okay, I want to like start making changes. And then I joined in like October, I think. And in January, my sister was like, oh my gosh, I feel like this is gonna get so much hate, but I did Whole30.
Oh, we've done Whole30.
Paleo,
here.
Right? I went paleo for.
Why are you gonna get hate?
Because people don't like challenges sometimes. You know, like 30-day challenges.
2 or 3 whole challenges over the years.
And I read a lot of blogs now about people saying like, oh, Whole30 is terrible. It's like restrictive and blah, blah, blah. That is what stopped me from binge eating. I'm not joking, because when you're on you do Whole30, if anyone's familiar with it, it's like you basically are eating like just whole foods. You're eating vegetables, proteins, animal proteins, fats that have like literally nothing in it. So if you're eating like nut butter, it's like straight just peanuts, right? That knowing that, so what they had said was like, you can eat however much you want during the day, but you want to stick to these certain foods. Yep. And once I started eating more foods like that, I realized like, oh, when I eat fruits and vegetables with protein and some carbs, I feel full. And I realized that the problem was before I wasn't allowing myself to eat breakfast or dinner. For the most part, I was eating like, brunch and then like a late lunch. When I would do that, I would get so hungry by the end of the day. But when you're filling up on whole foods that actually make you feel good, it's like, oh, if I just eat like this, I don't feel the need to eat like crazy on the weekends because I know that I, feel full for once. Yeah. So by the end of, I think I did it for like 45 days. And then I started introducing like rice and I don't know, some other foods into the diet. I would eat like dessert here and there, but it helped me to really kick like the cravings I was having. Like you said, sweet, salty, savory. It's like I would just do whatever my body was telling me. But now it's like, oh, I have control over actually how I feel and like what I want to eat now.
And you think that was coming from a lack of satiety?
Yeah. And I think I was eating a bunch of crap too.
Yeah.
Like I was eating like these vegetarian meals that were like, are just like fake meats and things like that don't make you feel very good.
Yeah. Okay. So then we fast forward, you're at the gym now, you're post-grad, you're working Orange Theory, working at Lulu, and what comes after that?
Yeah, so I didn't go back to working at Orange Theory. I actually ended up getting the assistant manager role at Lululemon. And so I was doing that. I was coming to the gym. I think around April was when Coach Drew had come over and had asked me if I ever had any interest in competing in CrossFit, just because I would take the classes like so seriously. And I was like, well, yeah, I think that'd be fun because I like really enjoyed being an athlete and I'm kind of like chasing that feeling again. And so I went on to our like hybrid membership with him and started doing extra programming, knowing that I wanted to like do a CrossFit competition. That was kind of all it was. When I first started, I just wanted to work out an hour a day. Now it's shifted into like, oh, I actually want to be like a CrossFit athlete. And so I don't remember how long it was after till I did my first comp. It was like a pretty good amount of time, but I was just
with the partner when you did with
Praise. Yeah. Okay. Yeah. I've actually never done an individual competition other than the open.
Oh, okay.
But yeah, started training, found like some training partners at the gym and it just made the gym so much fun. I think I started staying here like literally 3 hours a day, not even working out, just like hanging out and having more of like a social life at the gym, which was really different from what I had like post grad. Yeah.
How do you feel like and then the entire time you're going through this, was there a point in which you're like, dude, you know what? I have like victory over my food situation now. I know that what I'm doing is good for me. Yeah.
I think that Drew, so whenever I started being a little bit more competitive, I remember thinking like, oh, next step is like, I need to track my macros. Like that's the next piece to being an athlete. But Drew had, pretty good understanding of like my background with food. And he was like, no, I want you to actually like eat intuitively, but like these are like the guidelines of how much I want you to eat. And once I was able to eat intuitively and I could honestly stand in front of my coach and be like, I feel good about like where I'm at with my food. Then it was like, okay, sure. Now we can start tracking to make sure that you're actually eating enough for how much you're training. For me to be able to start tracking, that was a sign of like, oh, like I proved to myself that I was able to eat completely intuitively while eating healthy foods. Actually made me feel good. Like that was kind of like the win over nutrition.
It's good.
Yeah.
What's changed in the last 5 years? Do you have certain types of food that maybe aren't favorable in your pantry or freezer? How do you manage that while trying to be like, I know we have our health in 100 words here at the gym. What's your working definition for you of, I know that I live in this way that's healthy for me? Because there's also health, and then there's like athlete health, right? And athlete health doesn't always mean health, right? So there's performance health, and then there's real life health. And how do you balance that? Like, what is your kitchen or what is your pantry freezer look like these days where you feel like you're doing a good job stewarding that part of your life?
Yeah. Yeah. I think like when I think about like athlete health, I think of like when you see games athletes eating like a Snickers before they go on the floor, right? It's like you're trying to just get like carbs and sugar before you go hit like a really hard workout. And I think that maybe like a year ago, that was my mindset too, like leading up to the Open. I was like, oh, I just need like, 30 grams of carbs. I'll just smash a bag of like gummies. But going into this new season, so starting in like March of last year, I decided like this year is actually going to be about like hitting my macros, but filling it with actually good, like nutrient dense food. I don't want to get my carbs from like candy, basically. I want to get it from fruit. I want to feel good whenever I'm training. And so I actually got a nutrition coach outside of Drew, just because we decided that'd probably be like the best next step for me to work with someone else. And that has been a really great experience. I have now learned like when I go grocery shopping, it's like, I'm going to go to the protein. I'm going to choose my lean proteins that I like, chicken, beef, turkey meat, things like that, right? I'm buying fruits, vegetables, potatoes, filling up my fridge with that stuff because that's like what I like to snack on. I don't really I honestly don't keep that many snacks in the house because I just want my meals to be the thing that are keeping me full throughout the day.
It's good.
Yeah.
Find if you're gonna eat, it's just gonna be one of your meals.
Exactly.
That's good.
Yeah. Yeah. And that's like obviously supplementing with like protein shakes, just because that fits my goals is what's needed. But if I can keep it like to like whole foods, like that's gonna be the better option.
That's actually really helpful for me to hear because for me, I think about my journey and I'm 17 years into like being like in, is it 17 years? Like 17 years in like fitness now, and then maybe like 15 years into CrossFit. And I've gone through the paleo. I literally used to condemn rice. I used to and I used to like talk about it like, I'm Asian and I still don't eat rice and stuff like that. And I just, in hindsight, how like it was so silly, right? But in the moment, my conviction was so strong, and I felt like this is the way. This is the only way to be healthy. This is the only way to like. If you're not going this way, you don't get. If you eat rice, you're gonna get diabetes. Yeah. Because like I was like that headstrong about these things, and it's tough. And I look at like where I'm at now, and it's been up and downs of exploring and going through these different things and trying to figure out what not only what works for me, but what works well for people that we coach. I think about food, and it's cool hearing that you have that mindset because for me, I realized that even for myself, I consider myself relatively healthy, but I realized that I've actually valued a life of convenience over a life of, it's like I will be healthy within the parameters of convenience. And what that looks like for me is like right now it means drinking a lot of Fairlife because it's liquid protein. I can drink it. It's easy to consume. But what I realize is like hearing that you go to the grocery store and you pick all your stuff, like that's really insightful when I think about that because, for example, I don't ever go to the grocery store. So I'm actually really disconnected from my food. Like for me, it's just like, it's like a means to an, I'm very performative in my life. It's like everything has to serve this purpose. Everything is if it helps, like I want to optimize my time. Like I hate grocery shopping. Yeah. So I'll Instacart. Like, so, but then even Instacart, it's like, it's so, as I pull my phone out and I type it in, like I gamify it where it's like, hey, I'm ordering beef. And sometimes I'll order 3 different beefs because I'm like, oh, I know that sometimes one of them is out. Like, because the shopper has to go in and it sounds like I'm like painting a picture of myself, but I won't even go and respond to the dasher that's getting my food because I don't want to respond. And that's why I'll add 3 different ones. And if you can't get one of them, it's okay. I'll just miss one. But I got the other because I just don't want to pay attention to it. Yeah. And because I have all this other stuff going on. And it sounds like just hearing from your life, one thing that I'm taking away as a tip for me is like, I need to get more connected with the food that I'm personally eating. Like if that means going to the grocery store or being more in touch with my food, like that's already going to make me, it's like, it's wherever your attention goes, it's where the success is going to flow with it, Yeah. And I think it's hard. It's hard in a busy world today. Yeah. Yeah. So that's really cool to hear that. Like I feel like that sounds like that's kind of a big piece of your secret sauce that you've developed over the years. Yeah. 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 And I mean, it's like, if I'm going to train for 2.5 hours, like I don't want to feel bloated, which I know that's how I felt whenever I was eating like the filler foods just to be like, oh, I just need some sugar right now. I'll just do something quick. It's like, I didn't feel good training like that. So it's like, I knew that I needed to make some shift somewhere. And I can honestly say like, I have felt
100 times better this year
Yeah.
training than I did last year.
Oh, mark that. That's a timestamp right there. That's great.
Yeah. So
You know, with that in mind, like, do you still eat out? I mean, you're in the heart of the 626. So like, it's like
Yeah.
you have some of the best. I mean, honestly, we live in LA, so I'd say within a 40-minute drive, you can get the best any kind of food in the world.
that's true.
Right?
That's true.
Like, you can get food from like China, like Chinese style cuisine. You can get like any kind of Asian. You can get like food from like the Beckistans,
Yeah.
you know, the Uzbekistan, whatever. Like literally all the stans, you
Yeah.
can get their food, and then you so like, do you eat out? Like,
Yeah. I will say this is that my Alfred and I are trying our best to like budget as much as possible right now. So we allow ourselves to eat out once a week. So
that's it.
That's it.
One
And
meal.
to be honest, I think that has been like the biggest win in our relationship this year is like we have really stuck to that.
Dang.
Okay, maybe once every other month, one of us is like, hey, I have to grab like Chipotle today because I forgot my lunch or something. But
Every other month.
yeah, it does not happen
Respect.
often. It's crazy. So we leave Saturday night, we go out on a date night and enjoy food. We don't care what it is, right? It's like we live in the 60s. He's Taiwanese. We are going to eat a lot of Chinese food. Most of our meals at home are actually like pretty much like Chinese based, like because he cooks for us,
Sure.
which I'm very grateful for. But yeah, on the weekends, it's like if we go to Din Tai Fung or like one of the small dumpling places around here.
Sure.
Beef noodle soup is my favorite dish to eat out.
Okay.
So we'll always eat that. But I know like a couple weeks ago we went to like Cheesecake Factory and just
Okay.
ordered like whatever we wanted from the menu
Okay.
because I know and he knows that as long as we ate good throughout the week and we feel really good with how the week was, it's okay to have one or even like 2 meals a week where you just eat something that you genuinely enjoy that might not fall within the spectrum of, health food.
On that, those are definitely places that my wife likes to go to. For you, what are there places that you eat out where you're like, these are my go-to places that I eat when I'm still trying to eat really healthy. Where
Yeah.
it doesn't even feel like where maybe it doesn't feel like I'm even eating out. So like some local places around here.
Yeah, 100%. If there's ever like a pinch and it's like I need to grab something, summer rolls.
Summer rolls, okay.
Summer rolls is like my favorite.
What's the order at Summer Rolls?
You get the rice plate with chicken, and then you ask them to sub out the pork skin and the egg loaf for
extra meat.
double chicken.
For double chicken. And
Yeah.
they do that for you.
They'll do it. Yeah.
Dang.
No extra charge.
No extra charge. Okay.
You gotta make sure the owner's there though. He's the one
Tony,
that
okay.
makes
all
sure
right.
that
Tony's got to take care of that. Okay. You got any other places that are
Summer rolls is great. Oh my gosh. What is that? Oh, Thai show.
Thai Show's the plug.
Thai Show's a good
What's
one.
Up? What's
Yeah.
up, Chef Mike? Okay.
Chicken teriyaki.
Yep.
It's like white rice,
Yep.
chicken thigh, I
Yeah.
believe, some veggies, and then teriyaki sauce. Those are like the main go-tos.
You get
Kava's
You
great.
get double meat there?
Yes,
double meat,
yes,
it's,
double meat.
it's
Well, it's like
extra
you get
meat.
like a 2. Yeah, you
It's
get
a
you get the
4
plate
ounce,
or something.
It's like 4 ounce for $4, I think.
Yeah.
Or 2 ounce, I can't forget. And then extra veggies or double veggies is 75 cents.
Oh. Okay, that's a good tip.
Or
I
if
didn't
you,
know that one.
or you, they'll go 50 cents, replace your rice for all veggies if you want. And if you're cheap, like, cause I'm cheap, dude. So what I do is I'll replace my veggies and I'll make steamed rice at home. So then, you get what I'm saying? So it's like, I got basically this huge platter of, it's like all veggies, and then chicken just across the top. And the sauce on the side so I can moderate how much teriyaki.
So smart. So
Yeah.
smart.
I'm
Yeah.
just frugal Taiwanese, yeah.
I like to be honest, like I feel like a lot of Asian restaurants you go to, you can get a pretty like decent meal. Hainan chicken's great.
Oh, yeah.
Straight up boiled chicken and rice, like nothing better
Where's your
than that.
go-to Hainan chicken place?
Oh, I don't know what their names are. I just like know where they
really?
are. Yeah.
Okay. I go to Cluck to Go a lot.
Oh, Cluck to Go.
mess with
I've
Cluck
had
to
that
Go,
a handful
yeah.
of times.
We
Yeah.
eat Cluck to Go once a week.
Really?
Our entire house Tupperware that's plastic, the black lid, clear,
Yeah.
black bottom, clear lid. It's all Cluck to
Have
Go.
you got an extra one? I need one for my chalk.
I have a lot. So
Yeah. I think those are like the main go-tos.
yeah,
Yeah.
right on. And those are places where you eat there and it's like there's no thought of whether or not this is bad. Like you're just like,
Right. Yeah. Yeah.
oh, awesome. Great. We're going to kind of segue into, we're doing a special segment in every one of our episodes for this season. And we asked you to bring like an item of significance Do you have it on you?
No, I don't have it on.
Oh, you don't have it on you?
room.
Okay, you better go grab it. You better move.
Okay.
Boom. We're not pausing. Are we cutting? We're coming back to this ish? No? It's just live? It's just running live? I'll give you a gun show while she's gone. poor watchers that had to watch this on video.
This has more significance now, doesn't it, Eric?
Oh, I guess it does. So tell us about your item of significance.
My item of significance is a jar of peanut butter. Because whenever I literally,
So
anytime.
Skippy's the brand, huh? Are you loyal to any brand?
No, not really.
Okay.
To be honest, I think Trader Joe's has the best bang for your buck for peanut butter. Oh.
Yeah?
No? I'm saying if you're trying to save money.
Price-wise. Yeah, okay. I really like Jif.
Jif is good.
I like Jif and I like Peter Pan.
Yeah. Ew.
Dude, honestly, the more processed, the better it is. I gotta be honest. Like,
wait, but whenever you were little and you saw the ones that were like peanut butter and jelly in the same jar twisted up, like only the rich kids got that one.
I gotta tell you, that is when I was little, that didn't exist. So that was a thing.
Oh, you're old.
Yeah, that was a thing maybe in my late 20s. I saw it like
Yeah.
Smuckers did it. It's like a straight line of jelly, and it goes all around.
It looks
right?
disgusting. Yeah. It's like twisted around.
I used to personally make that at home.
Wow.
So I would take a Tupperware because I saw Rich Froning do it once, and he'd like eat it intro like during his training.
I see. Yeah. If Rich
So
Froning jumped off a
what's
bridge.
the story behind the peanut butter?
I think that this is a major accomplishment in my nutrition journey, to be honest. I think that this was something where I could not even keep this in my home or apartment for a long time, to be honest. I think it was just until like a year and a half, 2 years ago that I would actually start keeping this in my apartment again because I would be so scared that this would trigger a binge for me.
Wow.
And now I can comfortably, dessert foods. Like I always have ice cream in my fridge. I now always have peanut butter in my pantry. It's things like that where it's like, I feel like I actually have control over it now. And so it's a really good feeling. And so as funny as it is, it's literally like significance of like, I have taken like full ownership over my nutrition.
That's so powerful because it makes me think of even where I'm at. And, I've been journeying for so many years. And for me, I still don't like to keep chips or in my pantry, and I don't like to keep ice cream in my fridge.
Yeah.
And just because it's not that I know for sure I'll binge eat it, it's that I'll know that it's a source of comfort for me. Mm-hmm. And like, I won't just have, like, I'd rather just have it when I have it, but don't have access to it all the time.
Yeah.
And, it's something that is funny. Diana has been trying to challenge me. Is like, hey, why don't you have those things, but keep it in the garage? Because at least it takes you effort to go outside, open the garage, send the garage door open, open our extra freezer, pull it out, walk all the way back. And then knowing that it has to go back to the garage when you're done with it, it's just so inconvenient that it'll just be like a specialty thing. And I was like, that might be an idea. But yeah, it's like, I'm not even there yet. So that's kudos to you. That's amazing.
Yeah.
That's really cool.
Yeah.
Congratulations on that.
Thank you.
As we wrap up, is there anything that you want to share on this season where, as it is knowing, getting to know you better, what is your hope as a coach that you'd want your athletes to know, and like why is it that you do what you do?
Yeah. I think that my overall goal and the reason I even got into coaching, which is kind of funny. I feel like we talked about me being an athlete here and not really coaching much, but I did start coaching about a year and a half after being a member. I think that my reason behind wanting to coach was because I felt like I was in a place where I was really happy with the journey I had been on with my health and fitness. And I was like, oh, wow. I know for a fact that there are a ton of other women, especially, they're dealing with the same exact thing that I went through and at all ages. And my hope is that I can help people, whether they are like 5 years into a journey of struggling with nutrition and fitness or 6 months into that struggle, that I can be some voice and coach them to help them to be able to overcome the things that I was able to overcome.
Powerful. Yeah. What if there's one thing that you could tell 15-year-old 20 and because you're not that far away. But if there's something that you could tell, 15, 16-year-old Kara, as well as 21, you graduated at 21?
Yeah.
21-year-old post-grad Kara, if you could tell them two different messages or the same message, what would you tell them?
I think that like 15, 16-year-old Kara, it's just like, stop worrying so much about what literally everybody thinks about you. Like, hey, at a certain point, there are only going to be certain opinions in your life that really, really matter. And like, those are the people that you should listen to and respect. And I think 21-year-old is just like, hey, it's going to get a lot better. Like, you are going to figure out what your health and fitness means to you. And like, this is not going to last forever, because at the time it felt like it was going to.
That's good. Awesome. How can people connect with you? What's the best way to connect with you?
You can follow me on Instagram at Kara Ingersoll, all one word, 2 L's at the end. And you can find me at Reason Fitness.
Here we go. Is there you got at Kara Ingersoll, like that's like your legal name, that you got that one?
Yeah.
Nice.
I know my new name is taken already, so I need any input on that would be helpful.
All right. Well, thanks for joining me. I feel like I could continue this conversation, but yeah, thanks for joining. Thanks for listening in, and see you guys in the next one.